defending our liberty.
Good evening and welcome to Your Right to Know with the Fitchburg Republican City Committee. My name is Mary Lotze and I will be your co-host for this evening's show. Joining me tonight is a good friend of mine, Aaron Packard. Aaron is sitting in tonight for our missing in action attorney, Andrew Kuchar. Welcome, Aaron, and our special guest, Jessica Jacobson. Jessica, thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about quite a controversial subject in Fitchburg. And actually in doing some research behind the Fitchburg subject, what we found is that not only is it controversial in Fitchburg, but it's controversial, I could say, statewide, but even nationwide. And that's the flag controversy. I'm going to set the stage for a minute just to sort of allow our viewers who may not be as involved in what's going on in the newspapers and the radio, even in Boston TV, of what's going on in Fitchburg around this flag controversy. We're not talking about the American flag, the Massachusetts flag, or even the Fitchburg flag. What we're talking about is commemorative flags. People would like commemorative flags hoisted up on the same flagpoles or at the same time to be displayed with the three flags that I just mentioned, the American flag, the Commonwealth flag, and the city flag. And therein lies the rub. So what we found out in doing some research is that Fitchburg really never had a policy on flags and what flags should be flown or not flown, or how you would fly a flag if you wanted to fly a commemorative flag for any certain event. So what happened last summer, I believe it began last summer, and Jessica, you have to be Aaron and my sort of knowledge base on this, because we're only coming into this late and you've been involved in this controversy for quite some time now. Last summer, a commemorative flag was flown at Riverfront Park. Is that what it was?
Yep.
And it was the gay pride flag.
Yep.
And the flag, the individuals who wanted to hoist this flag went to the mayor. The mayor reviewed it and gave them the okay to raise their flag.
Yeah, I mean, they put it up every year. That's not the controversy.
Okay.
So we have no problem with them raising their flag.
Sure, and maybe many people, I'm sure probably the majority of residents in Fitchburg probably had no controversy. So then it came to this past December, and you wanted to raise a flag called the United Family. That's not the word. Nuclear family. Nuclear family
yeah,
flag.
It's a heterosexual flag, straight pride flag, a nuclear family flag. I mean, a lot of people have come up with a lot of names for it. We actually, I believe my request was in August.
Okay.
So I started the process back in August. September, we had it scheduled for a date in October. I don't have the exact date on it. I think it was like October 18th or something. So we had it originally scheduled for October. Mm-hmm. And due to some scheduling issues and getting it up with the DPW and some other things, we had to reschedule it. So just some red tape we went through. So we had to cancel that event. So it was public back in September when we started promoting it, and then we had to cancel it, and we didn't get it back. We didn't get it rescheduled till December. Right.
And the mayor supported that.
Yep.
Supported you putting it up? Is he supported putting up the flag?
I don't know if he's personally supportive of it. I kind of used his oath of office and the discrimination policy against him to put it up. So, and I also, I know he went and supported the Pride community, which is great, and he took a picture with them and put that on his Facebook page. So what I said, just, per your oath of office, you should also do the same thing with our flag. Show that the city represents and equally accepts both sexualities. That was it. We just wanted to show our kids that the city also wants to, equally represent and you know.
So then what happened now? That's where the kind of fallout started happening.
Right. So I guess, so the fallout started right when the mayor made his post. A few councilors started publicly posting hate, and they didn't really even, a lot of misinformation too.
Hate against you personally, or
well, because my name was with the flag, so yes, it did represent me. It was slander against me because my name was, yes,
you
I
did
did
this
it on
on
my
your
own.
own.
Right, no organizations, nothing. It was me putting it up. But again, these public officials, they that first day that mayor, when he posted it, they just swarmed in with a whole bunch of hate without even finding out the reasons behind why we felt the need to raise the flag.
And did they look at it as that you hated other people?
Yeah, they called me a bigot. They called anybody who supported it a bigot, anti-gay, it was nothing hateful was behind the flag raising. Nothing hateful.
So just to continue with the actions, City Council then decided they needed to get involved to be sort of the arbiter of the flag, commemorative flag hanging process. So they proposed it's called an ordinance known as 3-19, and it's called Commemorative Flag Ordinance. And the Commemorative Flag Ordinance actually sort of states that other than flags of the United States, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the city of Fitchburg, other commemorative flags may be flown on city-owned flagpoles only by resolution sponsored by the mayor or a city councilor and approved by the majority vote of the city council as an expression of the official sentiments of the city of Fitchburg. Now we're talking only the city-owned flagpoles. We're not talking about flagpoles that happen to be owned by businesses or outside people's homes. We're talking about those that stand outside City of Fitchburg City of Fitchburg public offices, like City Hall, in parks.
I don't think it includes Heritage Park either, because that's where people would put their flags for their heritage.
Which one is Heritage Park
That one's
now?
right on Main Street.
Down there in the Boulder, right?
No, right near the bridge that goes to Market Basket.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that the one?
Yeah, all it is with all the different country flags. So,
all right.
so that's just the heritage of Fitchburg. So
Sure.
any heritage can go and buy the flag and raise it. We do the Israeli flag. So that's
Okay, all right.
every year.
Okay, so now this is where we now come in. This has caused such controversy in the city of Fitchburg with the residents that we've now had at least 2 city council meetings to discuss and have open forum for any residents who want to be heard to come and talk to City Hall. The first one was the Legislative Affairs meeting that happened just a week ago, and then this past Tuesday we had the City Council as a whole meeting and talked about it. Jessica, let me ask you, why do you think this issue has brought up so many people on both sides of the issue to come and talk openly to city councilors about it? What is it about the flag controversy that has sparked such angst amongst the city residents?
There's a lot of bias that I'm seeing and noticing, where it's you need to accept one flag and you're not going to be able to accept the other flag. And I honestly feel that true equality is equally representing, but that's not what they're doing in a lot of public spaces. The schools is the main reason why I did this.
And I really want to get to the schools,
Yeah.
but I'd like to do that a little later in the show, because I think that almost needs to be talked about in its own right because of how the 2 meetings transpired, where we had young school students at both meetings, and they talked about what the flag controversy means to them. So I'd like to just postpone that conversation for a brief moment. Aaron, what did you think? You sat in on both of the meetings,
Yes,
and so I know you must have some feelings about.
I went and observed, and I did get up and publicly speak on the issue of the flag. And being a U.S. veteran, and I just ran for office this past year. The three flags that we have standing up there now, the American flag, of course, there's your unity all across the country.
One nation under God, indivisible.
Right. We have your
With
state
liberty
flag,
and justice for all.
and we have the city flag. Those three flags represent community intertwined, period. So my understanding in doing more research on this topic and sitting in on these council meetings, they referenced the city of Boston had basically an open forum on flag flying and were willing to fly commemoratives like you were just talking about for what's happened with these requests to be flown is reprehensible and considered publicly unacceptable. Now, how would you have preferred that this controversy be handled? Did you believe that the city council should have arbitrators for?
I don't think they should have biased arbitrators, which they clearly have a biased. They have their own opinion, and if you have a different opinion, they don't like it. They don't want you to talk, and they don't listen. And they've never answered any of my questions about the bias or the discrimination that they want to publicly show. There was a couple other flags that was mentioned too. So the city's current policy that the mayor put in is the POWMIA flag, which is.
I thought that was interesting. I always assumed,
And I
because you see
accidentally
it so
mentioned
universally.
that one when I spoke
So
up,
that
and I got corrected.
that one is included in the mayor's current policy. So that one is. And sports, I believe he also put. So when they have sport games.
I don't even support that. I know it's unity, but I don't even support that.
Personally, if I just wanted to show biased on some flags versus others.
And then the other flag, I think we should let all of our viewers know, because one of our friends of the FRCC, Alexander Vera, spoke very well about it, and that's the flag of the Rotary Club, Rotary International, not just a local Rotary Club, but Rotary International, which is apparently an organization for unity and peace throughout the world. And years ago, through history of Fitchburg, they actually, by understanding, bought the flagpoles for the city of Fitchburg with this express caveat that they could fly their flag on the city's flagpole. So that was a contract that was made back in history that still should be honored. Now, when I got up and spoke the other night, I felt that 5 flags, that's it. Those 5 flags. And nothing should ever go higher than the United States flag. But, which I don't believe even commemorative flags, I don't believe any one group has ever expressed that they want their flag to fly higher than that of the United States.
No, not that I can ever recollect.
I don't think that was brought up.
No, yeah.
They were talking about flying other countries' flags, though, and that, again, brings up division. So, what every country that gets bombed, are we going to have to now sit and choose who's right or not? Because let's say Israel right now just got bombed.
Those are all the flags downtown by the bridge. We already have
those are our
those
heritages.
flags.
Right now, are we going to have the government who can't even figure out local politics stick, foreign politics up on our local government flagpoles? I think that will just create more division. So I have to strongly just disagree with any flag that is on government poles should not be able to be discriminatory against race, religion, or sexuality. So, I'm all for just government flags that represent the United States. And Rotary, too. I thought he explained that they were recognized at least by the government, but maybe I could be wrong on that one.
I don't remember. I don't remember that comment. I was so shocked by what he was saying that
I'm for them, but.
I apologize to our viewers. Jessica, please introduce yourself to our viewers. I should have done that right in the beginning.
We got down to the nitty-gritty without
we jumped
giving
right
our
into
guests
the deep end of the pool, didn't we?
I'm fine with that. I'm Jessica Jacobson, and I'm a homeschool mom. I'm an advocate for homeschooling. and pulling kids out of the public school system.
Okay, thank you. Now, I'm sorry, Aaron, did you have something you wanted to say? I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's okay. It's on the same. With this ordinance of 319 commemorative flags, allows for a multi-step process for determining what flags can and cannot be flown. Now, this is a flag would be initiated by a resolution sponsored by the mayor or a city councilor to fly a specific flag representing a nation, organization, and people. The resolution will require majority approval from the city council. This would then go on to the mayor, as always, realizing that the requested flag is considered to be an expression of the official sentiments of the city of Fitchburg. Now, I have several problems with this, and I would like your thoughts. First, there was no criteria to set up to begin with. This was just somebody started a fire, and there was like I said, nothing was set up to begin with, and on any guidance of what flag content from an organization, the individual business, agency, would be considered. Now, is it okay to promote religious holidays through commemorative flags? What's your feel on that?
I mean, again, so one of the main reasons we picked the flag that we did is because we have so many different religions within the grassroots groups that I was representing. We just picked one that would just represent everyone. We didn't want to discriminate against religions. That wasn't what we wanted. But I have a huge problem with this policy. Just again, they've showed they're biased.
What about like a business or hey, even one from the Republican Party, we can put our flag up. Which do you feel about that? I mean, there was no clarification to us what would happen if the city councilors supported a flag of commemorative and the mayor says no, this flag shouldn't be flown, and it's a sentiment of the people. So here we have a torn council and a mayor set on just curbing this First Amendment free-for-all.
Well, the council members that wrote that ordinance did it in retaliation. They were the ones that publicly posted hate. So this was a retaliation.
So you feel this was all put together in retaliation?
It was for the flag that we raised, yes. Because they want one flag raised. Yes, they want one flag raised, and they clearly didn't like the other flag.
So you really look at it at the city council being now putting themselves in the position of being the arbiters of what flags go up, what commemorative flags go up, and not. They're the ones. They actually want to pick and choose. They want to pick the winners, those that get the flags put up, and they want to pick the losers, those that, sorry, we don't want to put your flag up. Because there is no criteria, as Aaron mentioned, of what would distinguish a flag that should be raised versus a flag that shouldn't be raised. And what Boston had when they had no policy, they had an open policy for hanging commemorative flags, is that they had groups come forward that had some reprehensible flags, to use your word. They were politically, socially, any other way you would like to look at it, they were derogatory towards certain groups. They were reprehensible, and so finally, the city of Boston had a lawsuit that was brought that went actually right to the U.S. Supreme Court, if I'm not mistaken. And the decision was nix with the flags, because once you start putting yourself in that position of being the decision maker, you're going to discriminate against someone. We could say we want the flag of the Republican Party raised. I don't even know what political persuasion you are, Jessica. It's immaterial to this conversation. But we could say that, and the city councilors would say no, and we'll say, well, perhaps that's because you don't like us. We're Republican. We're conservative. Well, the mere fact that they might say, no, that's not true. We support you. Well, we have a suit on our hands, potentially, a lawsuit. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but this is the kind of situation that they've
It's exactly the situation they are setting up. It's the exact situation they are setting up.
The way I look at
But
this
it
whole issue came about, and I apologize for cutting you off, is they did not foresee this. They didn't, a backup plan. Okay, we need to put in a process. No, they waited until they're trying to fix it. And that's what we keep running into is preventative maintenance, not, got to stitch up the wound now that we let it fall. It's not being thought out at all.
But there's no petition. There is no petition in this ordinance where a citizen can come in and say, I have 50 signatures. Let's see if we can get this flag up. There's nothing like that. They're saying that they want to speak for the people for us, but they've already spoke to bias. So now their speech is going to become the government speech. And I have a problem with biased speech becoming government official sentiments of the city of Fitchburg.
Well, you know what I thought was interesting is everyone, I believe, who spoke for this ordinance, that the city council would be the ones that would be the arbiters of what flag was raised, sort of looked at all of us sitting there in the viewing audience and said, if you don't like it, and of course it's all on FATV, so they were basically saying to all of the residents of Fitchburg, if you don't like what I say, vote me out in November. I mean, that was a universal sentiment that came through quite frequently, and I thought that was kind of interesting because out of how many people might have spoken over the 2 nights? 25? People
That's a good estimate.
Might have spoken over the 2 nights. I would say that 20 of the 25 were against the ordinance and wanted to see the flag policy either as it currently is, with the mayor being the sole arbiter, and he takes then the onus of responsibility on him,
right, on
his shoulders, or having just a rigid policy that there's 5 sanctioned flags in the city, grandfathered, POW, and Rotary Club. That's all the flags that should ever in the city be allowed to fly. That would override whether the mayor changes, whether the city council compromise changes. It would override any of that.
I think the current mayor's policy, he can't even put commemorative flags. It's no flags.
No flags.
So it's just the city, state,
and American
flag, and the POW MIA flag. Mm-hmm. That was on his list.
So now let's sort of go into, we had the children. Mm-hmm. We had 2 children come to the public hearings, one on the first legislative meeting and one came to the city council as a whole meeting. And both of those children, I thought, certainly their comments were most compelling of anybody, because they kind of lived it, is what they talked about. They're living it. These aren't sort of cloths draped on high above the city of Fitchburg. To them, it's something they live every day in their school. So we had both children saying the flags in the schools are discriminatory. They find, because the schools apparently allow commemorative flags. They don't fall under this policy, if I'm mistaken.
You are mistaken.
Okay,
they have a discrimination policies. They have quite a few. I have them all pulled. They are in violation of their policies.
The
schools are.
Committees.
They are only representing one sexuality and some other political propaganda to our students in the school system.
Because both of the children spoke about being bullied, being people provoking arguments,
distracting from the education period.
And I thought that was the young man, the little boy, and he said,
"I want to learn.
I
You're
want to
distracting
learn."
my education.
And so, when I spoke, I said, after hearing that, I said, this policy should apply also to the schools in and out, inside the schoolrooms itself, and outside the schools. But you said this is actually the policy that already is in existence. It's the schools
I don't know if they
themselves.
necessarily have a flag policy, but it should be, they have a lot of discrimination policies which are supposed to keep it neutral.
So we have children feeling discriminated against going to our public schools and being bullied and being harassed because they might think differently.
Right. So yeah, as a homeschool advocate, that's the entire reason I did this. There was a lot of parents or grandparents or guardians that I couldn't help in their stories of seeing only one sexuality being represented or some other political issues being put to them, which is the whole reason I raised the flag.
Now you have some groups that you work with that we'd like to share their information with the audience. We do have a slide that's going to come up, and I know it's a little distracting. Yes, there it goes. Could you just sort of tell us what these groups are?
Yeah, so they didn't help raise the flag, but they we have members that are part of some of these groups. And so Massachusetts Family Institute, to learn more about the sex ed issues in public school, you can text Fitchburg to 87891, or if you're not in Fitchburg, you can text education to 87891. For medical freedom, in Massachusetts, there's the group MAFA, which is Make America Free Again, and you can email lemonstermafa@aol.com. For freedom of speech, we have a good group of people out in the Boston area and all over. They're We the People of Mass, and you can email them at wethepeopleofmass@protonmail.com. And then if you want to email me about local homeschool conservative discrimination, or conservative discrimination, you can email me at standinggroundma@gmail.
And I thought it was interesting because we actually had at both of those hearings, public hearings, we had two of those groups represented. At least you may know of other represented, but we had the Mass Family Institute, and we had, what was the other group? That MAFA. We had representatives come up and speak at those two hearings. So you've really stepped into the fray by putting yourself into this. Did you know it was going to be this heated when you got in?
So I chose myself because I'm a homeschool mom. I don't have a job that people can go after. You can't come and dox me at my job. I thought there would be some keyboard warriors, but I never expected hate from city officials who'd take an oath of office. I never expected that.
Has this spurred you on at all to run for public office yourself?
I don't know. I hate politics.
I'm with you. I hate it too. I'm just doing my civic duty. So,
I congratulate you, Jessica. Thank you so much for stepping up. I mean, I know this has been difficult for you, but I applaud you
very much so.
For stepping up, and because you're not just speaking for yourself, you're speaking for all the people in Fitchburg, and certainly for parents of young children. And we thank you for joining and watching Your Right to Know and sitting in with the Fitchburg Republican City Committee. Remember that your local city or town Republican Committee is your only grassroots organization that supports and holds dear your liberty and your constitutional rights and conservative values. We encourage you to join us. Why? Because to us, the GOP stands for growth, opportunity, and prosperity for all people. And we always stand for freedom. And I thank you and good night.
America, we stand for freedom. So let us all use values that preserves our rights and goes forth in power and might, that reflects our values and preserves our rights and goes forth in power and might.